So hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm back with another video which is a part of my Python basic series, and the topic of this video is exception handling. Okay, so if you have not subscribed to my channel, then please go and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon for further notifications, and let's get started. So first of all, we have to understand what is exception handling and why it's so important. Okay, so let me take an example, right? So I have this URL bar opened here, and I have just pasted some gibberish URL here, and you see that I get some sort of message here on my screen that this site cannot be reached, and check if there is a typo in the name of the URL, or in the URL name, or the DNS name. So you see that using this message here, it's pretty much very clear to me that definitely there is some issue with my URL name, and if I go and correct it out, then this site might be starting to work. For example, now if I write here abc.com, and let's suppose it exists, so you see here, so there is some abc.com which already exists, which is a television service, media production house. So they have their website. So that is the importance of exception handling here. So let's suppose if I open a web page or a URL and there was no message on my screen, if there was just something like an error occurred. Okay, now how you will find out what error has occurred, how you will find out, or how you will debug it, and how you will actually fix it, because it's not clear to you. The screen just tells you an error occurred. Okay, so that is why exception handling is so important, because our code is bound to get some error or some issues, but what we want is to handle those issues gracefully and then show a meaningful message to the user. Okay, and that meaningful message which actually helps the user to debug that issue and ultimately fix it. So that is why we use exception handling. And in case of Python, there are basically three keywords which help us in doing this exception handling. The first keyword is the try keyword. So the try keyword is basically, it creates a block in which you write out all the code which you have to test. So let's see some examples of the try keyword. Okay, so I've created this markdown here, and now in my try I will just create a block here, try colon, and then I will write my code. Okay, so for example, I am just trying to print something here. So I will just print, let's suppose ABC. Okay, and try block is actually the portion where you write the code which you want to actually test it out, and then try block is always followed by a except block. Okay, so the except block basically handles the exception which occurs inside the try block. So I can simply write here except, and then I will print some error has occurred. Okay, so this is basically try and except which help us to find out an error and basically handle it. So you see here that this ABC variable is actually not declared anywhere in my code. Okay, so this variable is not declared anywhere in my code. If I would have just written here print ABC, in that case I would have gotten a name error. So I would have gotten some sort of a name error here in which it was stating that this name ABC is not defined. But surely when you are making a user interface application which is facing to the customer, you do not want to show error like this, right? You want to handle it gracefully. For example, in this case, I am showing the user some sort of easily understandable message, one liner message, that there is some error has occurred, and maybe please contact customer care. Okay, and then I can give the customer care number or give any details where the user can go and try to fix his issue. Okay, So this is why this is how we can use a try and accept block to basically handle our issues. Now there is one thing you have to notice here. If you write here accept without any specific exception name, then this accept block is called as a generic accept block. So it will basically handle any type of exception which occurs in your code. What you can do is you can create a specific exception handling accept block as well. For example, I will just show you. So here we have something called as try. So I just wrote here print ABC, and then in accept, what you can mention is the name of the exception. So you remember that in this print ABC, I got an exception name which is called as the name error. So I can write here accept name error. So in this case, if this print statement throws a name error, then it will be handled by this accept block. So here I can just write something called as that this variable does not exist. Okay, because I know that it is a name error, so definitely this variable is not yet defined, hence it doesn't exist in our namespace. So if you define it, you create it, then this exception will not happen. But what if this ABC variable, printing of this ABC variable creates some other exception? So what we can do is we can specify multiple accept blocks in a try block. Okay, so where we have this first accept block which is specific to a particular exception. So if this exception occurs, we will land on this accept block. But in case if this exception doesn't occur, then by default our exception will fall into this generic accept block, where we can print something like, we can just copy paste this line here, and this generic exception block will be executed only if there is some exception other than the name error. Okay, so now let's try this. So you see that I have got this message here that this variable does not exist. And why I've got this variable? Because my statement gave me a name error. Now let's try one more thing. Let's create ABC variable. Okay, let's create something called as 10. And now let's try to do something like a divide by 0 error. Okay, so let's try to do something like this, that x equals to 10 divided by 0. So we definitely will get some sort of arithmetic exception here, but this arithmetic exception will not be caught by the name error, it will be caught by the generic accept block. So let's see. So now you have seen that my first statement ABC was printed absolutely fine, but when my next statement was executed, we got an arithmetic exception here, and this exception was definitely not handled by the name error block, it was handled by the generic block, and that is why we got print some error has occurred, please contact customer care. So you see that is multiple accept blocks, and that is the difference between the specific exception block. And now we have another keyword in case of try and accept, that is called as else. So let's see how else works. Okay, so let me just copy paste this thing, and now we have this sort of exception that if there is a divide by 0, let's remove this print statement. So if there is a divide by 0, definitely some error is going to happen, and if some error happens, then we will print something like this, and we add something called as else, and else will simply print that there was no error occurred. Okay, now see, so we have got this accept block printed here. Why? Because we have got a divide by 0 error. But why this else statement was not printed? So else statement is printed only if you have no error occurred in the try block. So let's suppose my try block was completely error free, then there was no error occurred. So let's just comment out this statement, and let me just print ABC value again. Now if you remember, in my previous block I have just defined the ABC value as 10. So now I should not get a name error or any generic exception. I should just be able to print the value 10. Now you will see what happens. So my value 10 was printed. That was absolutely fine. And also my else block was printed, which states that there was no error occurred. So basically your try block is your testing block where you will test the code. If there is some exception, your except block will be executed. But if there is no exception, then your else block will get executed after the try block. Okay. So I hope that is clear to you. Now the last keyword which we have to discuss is called as the finally keyword. So basically it is also really important keyword, and most of the times in interviews we are asked like the difference between all these keywords. So let's see how finally works. So let me just copy paste this whole scenario here. So you will see here that I am just printing the ABC value. Definitely there will not be any error getting occurred here, and because my ABC value is very well defined. So now I will just create a finally block here, and I will just write here finally something is done. Now let's execute it. So now you see what is happening here. My first statement was executed, which was print ABC. So 10 was printed. Then I got printed, there was no error occurred because there was no exception here. So none of the except block got executed and the else block got executed, that there was no error occurred, which is fine. We have our finally statement executed and it is written that finally something is done. So when is finally executed? Finally is always executed after the try block is executed, but it is irrespective of the fact that there is any error or an exception has occurred or not. So basically I will just show you. If I use this, if I comment out this print ABC statement and I just enable this divide by 0 statement, and now I executed, you can see that I got an exception here, and that is why I got printed that some error has occurred. Please contact customer care. But in the end, we did not execute the else block because there was some exception, and that is why else block was not executed. But finally block was executed. Okay. So that is the thing with the finally block. Finally block will always get executed after the except block or the else block or the try block. So irrespective of the fact that there is some exception getting occurring, irrespective of some exception getting raised in your try block or not, once your code execution is completed, once your try block is completed, exception is completed or else is completed, finally block will get executed in the end. Because always in some code we need some sort of cleanup. For example, I created some database object here, I initialized some file here, I opened some file here. So in my finally block, I would want to close those files, to close those database connections. You do not want to leave your database connections and your file connections open, because that might lead to memory issues. So guys, that is the importance of finally block. So if you have some code cleanup and you want some code to be executed always, irrespective of the exception block to be executed, then always use that code statements into finally. If you want some statements to be executed only if there was no exception in the try block, then use else. If you want to handle some exceptions, some generic exception, use except block. If you want to handle a specific type of exception, use except with the name of the exception. And try block is definitely used to test any block. Guys, so I think this thing is clear, and one more thing I want to make clear to you. I will just uncomment this print statement here and I will just want to show you. So you see that in this print statement, my first statement only has got me an error. So in the first statement, I'm dividing 10 by 0, so I got an error. Once you get an exception in your code, then your next line will not be executed. So whatever line of code you are executing, before that everything will be fine. But after that exception raising line, no other lines in the try code will be executed afterwards. because our control will directly go from the try block to the except block. Okay, I hope that is clear to you guys. And the last thing which I want to discuss with you is called as the raise keyword. Let me just write here raise, and yeah, let's try the raise keyword. So what is the raise keyword? Basically, raise keyword helps you to raise exceptions from your code. Okay, so if you want to throw some exception from your code, then you use something called as a raise keyword. Okay, so for example, here let's take this example that we have this x 10 divided by 0. Okay, or we have something. So if we have this x and x is equals to, let's suppose, a divided by b. Okay, and a equals to 10 and b equals to 0. So what we can say, if b is less than equals to 0, or if b is equals to 0, then raise exception, in which you can write you cannot divide anything by 0. Okay, but if b is not equals to 0, then what you can simply say is that you can assign x becomes equals to a divided by b, and you can print x. So here I am doing a simple exception handling, that I just created two variables a and b. I am checking the denominator here. If the denominator is 0, then raise an exception. If the denominator is not 0, then simply divide the variables and write the result in the print statement. So let's see how this executes. So you can see here that I have raised my exception because b was equals to 0. So that's why this is an exception, which is that you cannot divide anything by 0. Okay, so that is how you can use a raise keyword to basically raise your own exception. You can use like you can even do something like name error here. For example, the name error which we were actually catching before, we can raise that name error also. So here I'm raising some sort of name error with a message called as this is a name error maybe, and now you will see that I have raised a name error here. Okay, so raise keyword is basically used to raise your own exceptions. You can do that, and then you can basically handle them in your code using try, except, finally, and else block. So guys, I hope exception handling is pretty much clear to you. It is really important from any project point of view, and I hope you like this video. If you have, then please like it and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon for further notifications. Till then, stay home, stay safe, and thank you so much everyone, and bye bye.